Jim, why I quit cursing. This is a video talking about cursing, about saying bad words, why I quit doing it. And if you saw many previous videos, and a lot of people do it, I have a really bad potty mouth. I was always cursing. I was always saying all the English vernacular words. I know the curse words from other languages. And I don't know, it was just like, I love to say curse words. But now I've done some reflection in my life and thinking in terms of Christianity, I guess, and faith and how you're perceived to other people. And I really thought about it, and I came to the conclusion that cursing is not really helping me at all. So, like, first of all, from the secular view, if you are somebody that curses a lot and they're always saying S, like every other word, people, they see you more as a more abrasive and rough person, and your reputation, your impression to the other person is, oh, this person, maybe he has a bad mind, or he doesn't have a good vocabulary, or he's always relying on these words like things and stuff and whatnot, instead of actually using the more descriptive vocabulary for the suited purpose. So it makes you seem more dumb, I guess, a lot more rough around the edges, a lot more low class, I guess, if you were to curse a lot. At least this is my perspective on it and what I see in my own self. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be that type of person, so I'm going to stop cursing. And like me personally, ever since that happened, I'm very conscious of like when other people curse, and I'm like, oh, that person said this curse. Like, of course, a lot of people, they're not very conscious when they say words. They just say them because it's what the brain wants at the time. But for me personally, I'm always very conscious of my words now, and I'm always trying to be present for every word that I say, because I don't want to curse. And of course, I'm not perfect. I don't have 100% accuracy all the time. Of course, every so and then I'm going to actually curse to myself, or I'll say a curse word that I didn't even realize I said, and I would look back and be like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. And like me personally, I'm trying to reduce like so much curse words, because I just think it's like a bad look personally for me. I'm not saying that you should stop cursing, or that people I know should stop cursing, or that cursing is a bad thing in general. Like, some people, cursing does have a utility case, where sometimes things in life is so bad that you just have to curse, because there's no other way to really describe it, in my own opinion. But it's a very personal thing. But in terms of the non-secular thing, in terms of like faith, Christianity, whatnot, so like me personally, I'm super duper Christian, and I'm always Bible maxing. And I was thinking for myself that, oh, okay, well, I say this and that, but then I'm going to be cursing so much in videos. And of course, like a lot of Christian people, they aren't perfect like that either, so they will also curse, and they aren't really conscious about it. But there's some people I know personally who are like super duper, kind of like my role models, and I'm like, okay, these people have the softest mouths ever. They speak with such innocence, even though on the outside they have like a very rough look, and their past is descriptive of somebody who's seen a lot of things and done a lot of things. They speak with the most calm resonance and serenity, and it makes me think, okay, I want to be like that too. So I'm kind of like following their path. And for example, these type of people, when they curse, like if ever, they will say like shoot or darn or crap. But even to them, I feel like they feel really bad about it to say that. And me personally, I'm also trying to not say those like lower level curse words as well, because curse words, there's a hierarchy of them. Like the really bad ones, you can combine all the curse words, and then the lower level ones, which are less, so like crap or darn or damn. But even like all of these words are, I still think I want to not say them. It's very, very hard, honestly. But for me personally, it's more of a looks thing for how I'm perceived by other people, and results of not cursing that much. So I've only been doing this for like a month or so, and already I don't curse like ever. I'm very self-controlling on my words. Already had that ability before, so me reducing the cursing it wasn't like that hard to do. I pretty much got it, most of the results in like a day or two. But I don't know, it's just like something else to notice, because like a lot of Christian people, a lot of people that I respect, a lot of people that live lives with a lot of positivity, I noticed they are sounding almost angelic with their vocabulary, and they don't curse as much. So I was like, okay, I want to be like that. But in terms of results, I think you were perceived with a lot more grace and welcoming from other people. This is what I noticed. And a lot of your own thoughts and how you perceive the world is in a lighter fashion from what I realize when I'm cursing less. Because if I were to give an extreme example, David Goggins, for example. So I used to, or even now, I think he's a great role model. I think he's pretty amazing. But his life story is very, very harsh. It's very hard. It's very messed up. And David Goggins, because he's lived such a bad life, I guess. I mean, I guess bad is not the right word, but a very rough one, a very tough one, a very tragic one. His life, his way of viewing the world is, I'm always chasing the next demon. I have a demon in my head. I have the Goggins in me that tells me to go up and do the next rep. And honestly, from like the Christian perspective, what David Goggins does and what he suffers is, and how he is submitting his own soul to the Goggins, that's like a separate deity. It's almost satanic, honestly. And a lot of people, when they hear that, they'll be like, oh, why? David Goggins, he's the epitome of masculinity. He is the man. He's the man's man. Discipline overall. Screw your feelings. It's all about the logic and the discipline and all of the pushing for the next rep. And all of these are obviously aspirational to man, the average man, especially in today's self-improvement space and red pill and whatnot. They always want to push masculine excellence, right? And David Goggins is a pillar of that. And I think that is fine. But of course, if everything, there's like a medium, there is a yin and yang, there is a balance to be made, where do you really want to be going 100 miles and literally bone is chafing in your toes and you're bleeding all over the place and you're on the verge of death and you have a hole in your heart and yet you're still going? Do you want to be like that? I mean, of course, the story is incredible, but average person, it's not applicable to them. He is exception, and his life is very, very tragic as a result. And because he has to live in this like very tragic and almost life without much peace and serendipity, he's constantly chasing after the next thing, and he's always being chased by this demon, the Goggins, and him saying, oh, well, you should be doing much better than this. You can go harder. Life is more difficult. You are such a wussy or whatnot. And I look at that life and I think it's very sad. I think it's very tragic, but it might be the only life that he can live because of the life he's lived. Of course, he could change. I don't know. But when you live that type of life, and when you live in a life where you're always pushing for masculine excellence, I feel like your vernacular and your vocabulary reflects on that as a result. And the only way that you can process all of this madness in your life is by cursing so much. And that's why, me personally, it was like that too, because I was also chasing for that masculine excellence. And in my life, I always speak with a lot of cursing because that was probably the way I could process it. And now my worldview has changed to a much more positive one. And I'm like, okay, well, do I want to be like that type of person? Of course, you should take those to heart and still continue to going to the gym or eating food or providing for family, making the money and all these wonderful things. Of course you should do those, but there is a layer of extremity and a point of diminishing returns where your effort is so high, but your results are so minimal in comparison. And now you are just suffering for little gain. And I feel like David Goggins is in that route. He's in that path. And that's why a lot of people who chase this maximum excellence and try to go for the next step. And I know a lot of people like this. It's very, very common in the common masculinity sphere that they have to suffer for the sake of, I don't know, maybe to fulfill the carnal desire I don't know what it is. It's a very difficult question to answer. My answer before would be like, status games, I want to feel better than the other person. But some people, it's not like that. Some people, it's because they generally have a pushing to do better for themselves. And they can't really explain why. But I notice a lot of these people, they curse so much. And I don't want to be like that personally. And there is the light at the end of the tunnel. And I don't know, you kind of have to find an answer for yourself. Me personally, that's what I think. But that's what I'm saying in this video. Why stop cursing, the yapping about the cursing. Or I'll see you guys.